Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Storm Collectibles, the King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match IORI YAGAMI figure, which is basically Noriaki Kakyoin from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but in a different color scheme. Did anybody else ever realize how similar the character designs are? They're very similar. I don't know who came first. You guys can let me know in the comment section below. This is the last of the, as of right now, planned batch of these guys. So now we have all of the parts to build this thing, and it's a pretty cool set. I don't know, did they say if they're going forward or not? Either way, this guy is a pretty cool figure. It's one of their better releases of recent history, and I think most people are going to be pretty happy with it, though there are a few things we need to talk about. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 7.5 inches, which makes him pretty close to, let's say, 19.5 centimeters. If you want to see him up against all the other guys, check out the review for Terry Bogard. It will have been uploaded before this one, and I showed them all on screen with a couple other figures as well. We don't need to take up all that time again. So this guy looks pretty good at first glance. I'm pretty pleased with it. There's really no shading or anything on him. The only thing that stands out is this part is either shaded or just kind of skunky looking. I think it's shading. I'm not sure. It's probably not going to read on camera very well. I don't know, maybe it will. Something a little odd about it. I didn't notice it until I had it on these harsh lights, so maybe it's not a big deal. But what paint is there is clean, like the buttons here, the neck thingy up there. The buckles are painted nicely on his pants and shoes. All in all, it looks pretty good. Not a whole lot going on, but seems okay. It seems like he's probably bulkier than he should be, which is the case for basically all the Storm Collectibles figures, but he is relatively slender compared to the rest of the guys, so I think that's okay. Super clean paintwork back here, that's awesome. Aesthetically, I'll give this guy an 8 out of 10. This part doesn't look very good. Could definitely look better. Before we get into the accessories, I just want to point out one that isn't included, which I think really would have been nice, is the Glowy Hand, which is on almost all of his artwork. We don't have that. We have this, and we'll get to it in a second. But I think the Glowy Hand would have been awesome. We don't have a Glowy Hand, so that's a bummer. But as far as the other accessories go, we do have kind of a bunch. We have the 2 fist hands that come on him in the package, then a bunch of other style pose hands, like a whole bunch. Plenty of options there. As for the heads, we have the neutral head that comes on him in the package, one smirky head, one teeth gritted head, and then one where he's either laughing, probably laughing, or yelling, but probably laughing. Plenty of options there. As for his energy effects, we do have one fire swirl that goes in his palm. We have one sparkly, fiery, lightning-y looking thing that's supposed to sit on the ground but likes to tip over. A little bit of sticky tack will fix that, but it is nicely saturated and nicely colored. And then we get his swooshy smoke effect thingy, which snaps around his arm. Or is it his leg? I think it's his arm. Hang on. Yep, it's his arm. I never played these games, and that looks pretty nice. And then lastly, as I already mentioned, we get Rugal's thingy, which I don't have all of the other pieces handy. I have them in storage because I put their packages away because I have too much stuff, and I don't have these handy. But they all snap together and make a big ball of doom. You've seen it. I'll show you a picture of it. Okay, alright, accessories. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Not as much as some of the other figures, but still a pretty good batch of accessories. Let's go ahead and do the articulation. The head is on a ball peg, which is connected to another ball peg down here in the torso, so you can lean his neck, which is just a really nice touch, and his head moves nicely on top of that ball peg as well. The hair coming down so far does limit it some, but you'll be able to pose him enough. It'll be fine. I mean, these are action figures, not real people, guys. Alright, as for the shoulders, they really went for that pointed shoulder look, which I'm guessing they did on purpose, because that's the character design. However, the way they did this, it makes it look kind of goofy when you pose him. Sometimes, it's not terrible, but you do end up with some issues. I think if they had just rounded this off more and let this do most of the work, it would have been fine. But it's still okay. You still get the arm connected to the ball peg. Tons of range. Most of the time, there's no issues. You should be okay. The bicep swivel is very limited, though, because it has to rotate this whole piece around, so that does suck, kind of. For the elbows, just better than 90 degrees. They have a slightly new joint, similar to the one they used for Cammy. It hides the gapping, but it doesn't have the best range, at least on this guy. For the wrists, straight peg with a ball hinge, somewhat limited, but you'll get some range out of it, so that's okay. This part and this part are separate, so you can move the upper body around however you want. He has really good range leaning back, Leaning forward is also excellent with no gapping. Side to side is excellent. Waist twist is good. There's probably a double ball peg technically in there. Although, this one feels like a single. It might only be a single, but it's still excellent. Then you do have another ball peg down here, though it's tricky to use because you have to stick your finger up his back. And then you can lean it around if you want to, though probably just use this one. You can use this one, but it's going to be flexing this a lot, and you're not going to get that much out of it anyway. But this one's excellent, so that's okay. For the hips, be careful. Be careful because we have this, which is the best of 90s character designs, probably. Looks like you can probably go even farther, but you can still get them pretty out there. Like, that's pretty wide, so that's okay. And then bringing the legs forward, not really an issue. If you try to really max it out, you'll have some limitations, but you can see here, that's better than 90-degree bend, so that's good. The legs could be a little stiffer, by the way. They're not loose, but they could definitely do better. They do lean back as well, though the shirt gets in the way. It does hang down kind of far. So that's all pretty good. You do get a thigh swivel, double jointed knee, very limited. Shy of 90. That's not great. That's not good. And then for the ankles, almost no range going back, almost no range going forward. A little bit of an ankle rocker, which is okay. And a toe hinge, which is okay. So some limitations, but the upper body is excellent. So I'm gonna give the articulation, so I'm gonna go 8.5 for articulation. Okay, so time for the final verdict on this guy. Accessories, not crazy good, but still really solid. Articulation in some cases is excellent, in some cases it's only okay. And the aesthetic is good and iffy here and there. So I think it's gonna balance out down to, I'm gonna do 8. I think the final verdict on this guy is gonna be 8. Another excellent release overall with a few issues, but still one that I am more than happy to have in my collection. I don't feel cheated, I don't feel disappointed, and that's okay, that's good. That's what I'm hoping for when I get these figures, any figures. If I feel cheated and disappointed, that's a problem. These don't do that. I think you guys, especially if you guys have an attachment to the characters, you're gonna like them probably even more. I have no attachment to these characters other than Terry, so I think you guys are gonna like these a whole bunch. So go ahead and track them down if you haven't yet. Now you have the information to decide if you want to. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos out just about every single day, and for those days when I don't, I have thousands of videos already on the channel just waiting for you to watch them. So come back for all of that good stuff, and in the meantime, keep collecting.